I mean, we're very informative, don't you think?
I believe so.
Because a lot of the times we don't talk about really any stories because our lives are boring. No, no, it's not. But
No, our lives are. I wouldn't say my life is boring. I'm relatively sedentary, or like I'm just settled because I have I've worked very hard to get to where I am in my life, and have basically everything I need to continue existing so long as I have the income to support it.
and your boy right here goes on the basis of carpe diem. um, so not saying that it's a bad thing, but you get a lot of life experience by doing so. That's for sure. Going from working in music, which, oh man, we have not talked about any of those stories. I think we did maybe like the first two, three
Yeah,
episodes.
well, it's because like of the ones you have a lot of stories.
I do have a lot of stories, and we don't talk nearly as much about them at all. Um, Also, oh, I forgot to tell you. This is new. Okay, so breaking news, coming in from our
Mm-hmm.
studio. Caleb does not know this, but remember how we were talking about that one gig that we hope that we made that I get to do it, and I had a 1 day tryout kind of thing,
Uh
and
huh.
yeah, so I am going to be gone for 2 weeks, so we're gonna have to record hard. I have to give you my schedule.
Yeah,
Um,
no, let me know so that we can plan around that,
yeah, I
please.
totally
This is
forgot
news to
about
me,
it.
guys. So like the thing of which we are talking about that we cannot say because we're not allowed to talk about, but we're talking about it anyway, separately, is not the thing of which you might be thinking that we are talking about. It's definitely not porn. Um,
Yeah, it's very NDA. So, um, like when I had to sign forms, there was like maybe 15 pages of just NDA stuff. So sorry, it won't be said until things are happening. But
well,
um,
until things have already happened and you are released from your contractual requirements to say things of which you're not allowed to say as of right now, then.
yes, exactly. For those who are not familiar with the verbiage and the lexicon of definitions and words utilized in this past 3 minutes. But yeah, so I will be preoccupado for 2 weeks. There are a couple of days off, but I don't think any of them fall on days that we both can be available. I have to give you my schedule.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I will work around your schedule for those 2 weeks so that we can continue to produce this wonderful content for our loving fan base.
all six of you. I'm just kidding. I think there's more than that. I think there's like,
I
you know
don't know
what?
if I haven't actually checked the YouTube metrics or the Spotify metrics at all because, like, we do this not because we actually want to build a following, but because we wanted to hang out and sometimes we say funny shit.
I mean, it's true. And for some of you who talk to me on the constant, and for those of you who are loving and endearing, I appreciate the feedback and that the fact that some of you are noticing things or saying things about me that I'm like, I never told you this. And then you're just like, but you talked about it on the podcast. I was like, you know what? You're
Oh,
right. I've
yeah,
hit
no,
that. I've hit that
it
wall.
you've hit that. Well, the people in my life are so few, and like all the people in my life, I don't think. Actually, I haven't even told my mom and my dad about our podcast, but my mom would actually listen to it, and she'd probably find it really funny. But simultaneously, I kind of hope she never does.
Yeah, because there are some things that we talk about that I don't think any parental figure would thoroughly enjoy listening to or the
To our
context.
Yeah, the context of or like I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to see. Now I'm curious about whether or not my response to this podcast would be
Right?
okay.
Because
So
I did have to think about it at first. I was like, oh, yeah, it's just something that Caleb and I do just for fun, just so we can hang out, and it's just something that we get to do for a
yeah,
handful of
but
hours.
because you shared it around with your family and friends and stuff and told them about it, now like there are actually people who might be listening to you. Yeah, I actually at work where I work. I think I've already said that I work at an AutoZone. If not, I just said it. Like it doesn't matter. Like I told one of our vehicle drivers about it, and apparently he's been listening to our
Oh,
back
that's cool.
catalog.
That's cool. That's funny. I mean,
Like
like, okay. Oh, there's, oh, I have, oh. Oh, I just got really excited.
You guys are missing this. Like he hit his face with his hands. Like it was
You
so
probably
cute.
heard it. You heard it because I hit the mic. um, but on top of this really cool wallet that I got, no promotion, whatever, but there is something that I very much so want to show you that the viewers cannot see. Only
The
a
San
handful.
Jose library card or whatever it is.
No, it's not even. It's actually called a dot card, and it's basically a business card that goes for online. So it actually has a chip that you could read, and it also has a QR code.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
and when it's scanned or tapped, which is my favorite part of it, is tapping it on someone's phone and it being like, oh, it says that it's an NFT, but it's not an NFT. It's just a link to a website.
Mm-hmm.
And the website is your own personal like business profile. Like you could cater it to whatever you want. And so for me, because for me, like most of the time I just share social media. Like if I go to events or talk to people, like first thing you want is the phone number, sure. But
Mm-hmm.
this has when you scan it, it has my all my social media, my Instagram, my Twitter, um, my Snapchat, um, and you could also include things like phone numbers or emails. But if that was the
Mm-hmm.
case, I would get a second one just so one's
Well,
all
you would have
business.
your business dot, and then you would have your personal dot.
Yeah, and so this one, like, I find it really cool because if it scans your IG, or it has your if it has your Instagram on there, you just tap it, it takes you right to the page from the app. And yeah, so it's very nifty when it comes to like constantly meeting new people or like interacting with people at like social venues such as music venues,
Mm-hmm. Clubs,
parties, clubs,
businesses.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anytime that you are there to socialize or have, unfortunately, social media, it's really nifty because all they have to do is just tap it and they have everything they need right then and there.
Well, it seems like it's a very expedient way to network
Oh,
because
very much so.
like if people aren't being careful with your phone with their phones out, you could basically like sneak your card in anywhere near their phones and just like tap 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 tap. Who's this Jason guy? Like,
Right, right. I do it a lot with small business ventures that I have been procuring during this time. By all means, it does not bring me any wealth, but it is very fun and for a hobbyist. Um, but yeah, it's nifty. It's cool. And I just got really excited because for sure it's just like all I have to do is just tap the back of your phone and it will pop up saying, "Hey, there's this link. Do you want to open it?" And the answer is
mm-hmm.
yes. And it shows
Yes.
basically my profile with all of my social media on there. But you could, oh, I also put the podcast on there as well. So,
Oh, that's okay. So
yeah.
that's the tie-in. And I'm like, I had a feeling you did it, but like, I just wanted to know. Like,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, you can put Spotify on there. Although I don't think our Spotify has an official name. I think it's still a bunch of letters and numbers. And I forgot to check to see if there's a way to make it.
An actual like direct Spotify or something.
Yeah, like
or like a
NNP,
direct
like
link.
a direct link where it's like NNP, NNPN. P.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the extra. I was like, there's that one more P.
Yeah.
To do. Which I think is very cool. I was like, what were we talking about beforehand? Because I got super excited about it. Um, but yeah, that's a tie-in. Um, it's a neat little gadget, and if you just want the card, it's $20.
Nice.
But there is a sticker that you could stick onto a disc that you could stick onto it, and there's one that's a pronounced disc where it's like you can put it on the back of like a pop socket. Like it's as big as that. So you can just stick it onto the pop socket and then it'll just go.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Like I'm really interested in the wearable technology like
Yep.
that we're getting and stuff. Like
Hmm.
we already have like wireless headphones and stuff and that's been around.
Right. Right.
But like we're getting into the inductive wireless headphones now where like they bounce against the bones in your cheeks so that you can hear it but like it's not actually producing the sound.
Right. Yeah.
Like we're like getting to like really interesting parts where we're just this side of actually embedding like microchips under our skin and stuff and being able to control the world with like with our fingers. Like touch screens basically did that when they first came out, but there are certain things like you're not going to get haptic feedback from like touching something in the metaverse. Like I haven't actually delved into the metaverse yet. I'm like really terrified about what that's going to do to people.
Yep.
Because
Agreed.
yeah, like that's too much. That is way too much. Like VR gaming is cool. Like don't get me wrong. I freaking love Beat Saber and like the 2 other VR games I have, which is like the Spider-Man one, the Spider-Man demo, and like one other game.
Okay.
But like they're a lot of fun. But as soon as you take it off and you go back to like normal color saturation, you're going to like normal things in real life, it kind of feels like your brain is trying to tell you which one is real.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just experienced swinging through New York City, like, and depending on like what your settings are at and if you have the hardware to do it, the newer Spider-Man like games in VR, you could basically, all except for the wind and the smell of New York, because I have no idea what New York smells like, but like, you know, all except for like other sensory things, your brain is filling in a lot of stuff for you. So your experience in the game is a lot like when I play D&D.
Mm-hmm.
My character doing something, my brain still renders it as I did something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where gaming is really interesting and needs a lot more study, in my opinion, of the long-term effects, long-term neurological effects of especially role-play style gaming. Anything that has you taking on a role that is not yourself. So any RPG, any like anything that isn't a first-person shooter, because first-person shooters don't have emotional ties other than to your KD.
Mm-hmm.
Kill death ratio, or like win loss ratios.
Yep.
Whatever that is, you're not actually associating yourself with the class you're playing or the character you're playing. You're associating yourself with the skills that you are gaining by playing the game.
Yep.
Like Jason knows this because he plays Overwatch.
Yeah.
And like none of your experiences are tied to the class that you're playing, right? Like if you're playing Mercy or whatever, you can say, "Oh, Mercy did this." No, it's I did this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not tied to the abilities, it's whether or not you completed the objective.
Right.
Whereas if you're in a role-playing game and you're playing as the main character, I played the Tales of series, one of the games, Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New Era, on the Wii, and the main character's name is Emile Castagnier, or at least that's what they tell you it is. But you know, spoilers. It's been out for like 12 years, so it's really not that big.
What? Say it
Yeah.
isn't so.
Yeah, no. Turns out you're actually like this deity, Ratatosk, the entire time, and like all these other things. It's crazy.
The Tales series is fun, regardless. But continue.
All of the Tales games are like really fun. I've only played Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New Era, but like I know that a lot of people love the other Tales games.
Have you played the first Tales of Symphonia? The original?
No, I have not.
That
But
is one of the best series for the Tales series, if not the.
Yeah, I have it on my PC, and I do intend to eventually play through all of them. It's just the PC porting of them was really bad, so I have to like get around that, and it's like, it's a lot of hassle to play a game where I just want to relax and like enjoy the story.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, accomplishing the tasks in that game, I feel like I actually I completed those puzzles. I ran through the ruins. I like fought these monsters. I raised my pets. I did all of these things, and I feel like it's not just me when I say like when I play Pokemon, I actually feel like I'm the trainer and I'm training up these Pokemon to beat the Elite Four or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to have to apologize for myself. I just knocked the mic while you were talking, so...
It's okay. I'll remember 108.22. We're fine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But no, exactly. Like being immersed into one of those games, then adding the immersiveness via VR, right?
Yeah. And like if Elon Musk gets his way and we all start putting microchips in our heads and Neuralink becomes a thing, like the line between reality and digitality, or virtuality, forgive me, is going to be blurred even further, because they're going to be able to put sensations directly into your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And what is life if not the experience and
Of
the understanding of
sensation.
sensation?
That means that our world will become either, depending on how you take it, which I prefer this way, but it's either going to be Sword Art Online or Ready Player One, and I think it's going to be more so like Ready Player One than it will
See,
be.
yeah, the problem I have with both of those is they're both dystopias. They are both, but in both cases they are the worst possible outcome
But
of being integrated with technology.
but Sao, the dystopia happens within the device, not on the outside world.
No, the
While
outside world also gets severely hit because you've got 10,000 people. I mean, in the original books, it's 10,000 people, but you have 10,000 people. Some people were heads of industries. The negative effects of Sword Art Online were much broader than the anime ever like really shows. And I've never read the light novels, but just extrapolating out, like if 10,000 people were to disappear right now across the world, not a huge deal. But if they are heads of industry, if they are people who are like Twitch streamers and whatnot, you can't tell me there was nobody that was playing Sword Art Online that wasn't live streaming their play of Sword Art Online. So like whomever had that live stream of Sword Art Online, like this is because Reki Kawahara just doesn't. Or is it Reki Kawahara? I think it's
you would
Reki.
know it, you would know it more than better than I
Yeah,
would.
this is because Reki Kawahara doesn't actually understand video gaming, but like at all. But he wrote a story about video gaming. I don't understand why, but yeah. So he doesn't understand how video games work, and he doesn't know anything about game design or game building or the culture behind video games. And that's why Sword Art Online is the dumpster fire that it is. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but it's a dumpster fire. Um, the reason why both Ready Player One and Sword Art Online are still considered dystopias to me is because of the sheer detachment from humanity. Like, in Ready Player One, they ban the use of the internet, or I think they call it Oz, or
I can't remember.
Oasis, of the Oasis. Forgive me.
Are you
They
doing
ban
this?
the
Are you
usage of the Oasis on Tuesdays, right?
are you
So that
referring to
people
this
actually.
from the? Are you referring this to the book or the movie?
The book is all. They also do that in the
Yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah. But
Right.
I couldn't remember if you read the book as well.
My fiance just walked in, so Jason is like waving at her.
Okay. Anyway,
Yes.
go.
Anyway. Yeah, so in both the book and in the movie, they talk about shutting down the Oasis on Tuesdays. Now, what happens is if you continue on to the second book, Ready Player 2, you find out that that didn't last long. Oh, I didn't know Jason didn't read it. Oh, okay. Okay, no more spoilers. No more spoilers. I didn't know that Jason didn't read it.
I own the book, and it's been on the shelf for a while because
Dude,
there are
just listen to the audiobook. It's Will Wheaton narrating it.
I don't. That's the reason why I will eventually get there. But I want to read it at my own pleasure with my own voices in my own head, because I'm currently reading a Star Wars book from what is now called Legends. I'm still going to call it the Expanded Universe, the EU. Darth Revan, his storybook.
I didn't know there's an actual book. I thought it was just the canon from the games. Oh well then. Who's the author? Drew
Carpathian. He is also the same author who wrote the Darth Bane trilogy, which is my favorite
Oh.
trilogy of all Star Wars. A better love story than the sequel trilogy, like by far. And I have, well, I kind of stopped, but at least once a month I message uh, Dave Filoni and why is his name blanking? John John Favreau.
Yes.
I've been tweeting him at least once a month that they need to make a series of Darth Bane because the world of Star Wars needs some old Republic lore that isn't just about Jedi.
Yeah, that is much larger than the Jedi. Like, to be fair, the Jedi are actually like a relatively small religious order in like the greater galaxy. Like,
Yeah,
the
at
greater
first.
expansive Star Wars like universe. It is so amazingly large and vast and so fleshed out, and there's so much going on. And I think it's crazy, but getting back to our own universe, away from a galaxy far, far away. Um, I mean, technically speaking, in the metaverse, you could totally live in a galaxy far, far away. But
We're not doing
I-
that right now. We're not going there.
yeah, we're not going
Continue.
there. I mean,
Continue.
because I'd probably never return because Star Wars is so much cooler than real life. But that's the problem. The escapism is going to be insane.
Oh,
and
for
there's
sure.
going to be like people with avatars that are going to be manipulating their avatars that look like squids and whatnot. And when they're in the metaverse, they're going to be a squid. But the second they leave the avatar, leave the metaverse to take care of like human body things, they're like, this isn't who I am. I'm more this person inside the metaverse than I am this person, this mortal flesh. But like the soul is the combination of the heart and the head.
Yeah.
Like basically what the metaverse is doing is removing the heart from the head. Or removing the head,
The
from,
head
the
from
heart.
the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all up here. Everything is here. The rest of the body, like the metaverse doesn't care about the rest of the body, and it won't. It even further the more we have direct neural connectivity to the web.
Yeah.
Like,
By the way, he was pointing at his head. If
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm like here. I was tapping
the
my
brain,
temples
the,
and stuff.
the brain,
brain.
the head.
The mind, the brain, cerebro, as they say in Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah. It's another X-Men reference.
That's why I was just like, I'm going to leave it here. But
I'm gonna
continue with the metaverse, being a squid, being a squiddy squid, spitting some ink.
I just feel like, okay, so it's been proven that social media in its current iteration has led to larger cases of depression and larger cases of bullying in especially young children and whatnot. People, young teens or developing people, basically, because they're focused on things that are entirely external from them, but because their only connection to it is through whatever device that they have, and they've been rewarded every time they answer something. We're all tied to our phones in an inextricable. Like, I feel naked if I don't have my phone, like in a really
Interesting.
bad way. Like, and I know that I can feel that. I can feel like, what if somebody needs to call me? I'm so anxious. Like it's like, what if somebody needs to contact me? What if this happens? What if that happens? And it's all tied to whether or not I have access to this stream of information that is my phone. Children have that, but they've never grown up without it. Children
Fair.
nowadays,
Yeah.
they never grew up without the access to the internet the way myself and yourself may have had, or people that are even older than us. Like,
Yeah.
The internet didn't exist when my sister was born.
Was it around when I was? Oh, yeah, it was, but it wasn't public.
Yeah, no, because it was DARPANET when you were born.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet was private.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a private entity.
think about that, people. At one point, you didn't have access to all the summation of the human knowledge, and then one hacker, one amazing, glorious hacker asshole, decided to break into DARPANET and be like, "Nope, this should be public." Boop.
Yep, and here we are now.
And here we have the World Wide Web. The amazingness that allows me to carry on this conversation with my buddy who's in a different state. Without paying crazy phone bill fees. Dear God, could you imagine how much the long distance call fee would be for all of our episodes? Could you imagine how much it would have been?
Do you imagine? Can you imagine what gaming would have become? Non-existent.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it weren't for the internet, video games would have become essentially stagnant. Arcades may have exploded though. Like further than they did, because if all gaming was relegated to arcade gaming, And I could really see it developing into more of a lounge experience for arcades because you
Yeah.
would want to spend more time there. But I can't imagine you wouldn't want to bring that home with you. So home gaming would still have become a thing.
But it
Like,
wouldn't be as extensive, and most of the games would be like there wouldn't. In order to
well,
socialize,
I would honestly say that there would be no social game playing. There would be a whole lot of amazing story games, though, and I'm almost down for that.
because that's your genre of video
Yeah,
games.
no, single player games. I am player one. I only play player one games.
Yeah, well, I'm a multiplayer kind of guy.
Yeah.
I finally dabbled in single player games enough that has my attention to fully immerse myself. It's been a minute. Oh, excuse me. But because I'm currently cycling through 3 games right now that are single player. The first one is Spider-Man on the PS5. The first one, I still haven't finished it because now I'm just doing like the tedious bullshit to like complete it. I'm a completionist when I decide to play single player games. Of course I would. Cyberpunk, because they finally fully updated it, and it is.
So it's CD Projekt Red finally fixed all their crap.
I mean, it was still fixed and it was still running fine, but they did a giant overhaul that actually makes it run well. Like the game is I wouldn't say complete, but the game is not broken. It's still broken in certain ways, like, bugs, but then again, that's every single player game. There's always going to be bugs like that.
I mean, all I can think of is the spiffing Brit one-shotting like people with the pistol, with the starter pistol, because he upgraded his pistol tech tree or whatever it is, and like, I don't know. All I can think is like they were not thinking about balance when they were making this game at all.
That, and also, that's what you got to experience. What I got to experience was 5 frames, because I played it on the original Xbox One. So I mean, I was still able to play it, but I was very limited on what class I could play that made it playable. And now that the game is running and I have upgraded my hardware, I upgraded my hardware. I have a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and brand spanking whopping 30 series graphics card.
Oh.
Don't worry.
You are the elite gamer. Like, okay, so people who are not in the know, back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, there was this meme going around of the PC Master Race. It's basically a emoji-fied version of Fabio versus the console plebs. People who only game on consoles and only have access to console games.
Guilty.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone's been a console pleb at one point, but, I joined the PC Master Race back in 2014 or 2010, because I started building computers then. Yeah, so like 2010, 2012, somewhere around there. So I was on the internet at the coolest time to be on the internet, right before all of piracy started getting banned.
I'm very envious of that, because I was around that time, but I didn't have the ability to have a computer that I could build and try to work for. If I had known, because I joined the PC Master Race and during COVID times, but I've always wanted to join PC Master Race, but the problem was money, and I didn't have expendable cash. And then because I wasn't spending any money when the pandemic was happening, I was like, oh yay, I could budget myself to have a really dope computer, and then here we are. So yeah, that's my backstory. But yes, continue, Caleb.
Yeah, so being part of the glorious age of the internet, I can honestly say, growing up, being in high school when, like, all of the major messaging boards, like 4chan is the most famous and infamous, right? Like, they get a lot of good rap and they get a lot of bad rap because sometimes they do good stuff, sometimes they do terrible things,
like really bad things.
Like really bad things. Like, don't get me wrong, like I've seen some shit. Like, it's what it is, but it desensitized me to a lot of the world, which is both a good and a bad thing. I think that That is not the way you should raise a child. I will purposefully ban 4chan from my child's devices when they grow up. Like
For those of
directly.
you, yeah, for those of you who don't know what 4chan is, because I just realized most of you don't know what 4chan is, or some people who don't understand what 4chan is. 4chan is basically the predecessor to what you now know as Reddit. Um,
Yeah,
Reddit.
It's a message board. It's original. It's a .com era message board that's basically only been updated to allow for certain file formats and certain things. But basically, a lot of people who are socially stunted end up there to espouse their ideas. Now, because no one gets censored on there, a lot of vitriol gets out, but a lot of actual good information gets out as well. Like, if it weren't like you can find any number of these videos of excuse me, of times that 4chan actually saved people's lives, or like the times that like they've done a lot of really bad. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat the fact that
There's a lot of bad on 4chan.
it's a lot of very, very bad on 4chan, but they've sometimes done good stuff. Like, I don't know. Like,
My favorite good stuff that's also really bad stuff is Rules of the Internet.
yes, the rules of the internet. If it weren't for 4chan, we would not have the rules of the internet. This is true. But really bad, but really good, because honestly speaking, if you follow the rules, you're actually okay.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
It's solid. Like, I can't remember which one it was, but like I think it's like Rule 7 or something. There are no women on the internet.
Very false, but you know,
It,
but
very
it's,
false now, but at the time it was
it
written.
was very true. It was predominantly true. It was predominantly true.
predominantly true. Because why? Because anytime you would game in Warcraft, or if you were on like any multiplayer game at the time, and you found a female character, it was just a dude
Who
in
just
his
like,
underwear
I mean,
in his mom's basement. 100%. Like this is like the truth of the matter. Is it was never a real woman.
stop telling them the lies that I have become. No,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, for the most part, I enjoyed. I mean, as a teenage boy, playing female characters was another form of, what do you call that? Fascination. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's like Tomb Raider or Lara Croft, right? Like
Yeah,
all of
pretty
those
much.
games and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I've always played male characters whenever I play a game. Like I've just never felt the need to play a female character unless the campaign requires it. But then again, I've never really played any of the female-led games because they didn't appeal to me. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm a very action RPG type of person player, and I also only ever played as male characters if I was given the option to.
That's because you immerse yourself in it, right?
Yeah,
That's because
no,
that's because
it-
you had to do the full immersion.
Yeah, because I want to experience that which my character is, and I can't experience that which I do not know. So
Right.
I do not know what being a female feels like, and therefore it's a huge disconnect for me if the character I am playing is female and they are experiencing things, because I don't understand that. It doesn't compute correctly.
And I think that's where we're different, because that's the reason why I chose female characters was because I would see the character as not myself, as me as a viewer watching the game happen. That's why I was always turned away from role-playing games or single-player games, was because I never really immersed myself as this character, right? Like playing Sonic, like Sonic Adventure Battle, like I didn't see myself playing as Sonic, which some people do when they immerse themselves in games. Like I saw myself watching Sonic do these things, not me doing these things. So, or like how some people get super immersed with the Batman Arkham series, right? Like, I'm Batman, I am vengeance. And
Okay, so my buddy Sterling literally was doing that the entire time he was playing. So like he would like drop down on somebody. He's like, "I'm Batman."
yeah. So you know what I mean? But it's like you immerse yourself as, oh my god, I get to finally be Batman, and I get to do all these stealthy Batman things.
I get to finally be Spider-Man. I get to finally be this. I get to do all of these awesome things. And that's the like wonderful and like I say double-edged sword of the way games are designed, because they reward you for immersion. Like actually getting into the game, like there are little like Easter eggs. Think about Easter eggs for a second. Like Ready Player One already talked about it. The first Easter egg was in, Adventure Quest or whatever it was called. I can't remember. But, Easter eggs. There are things that are given for people who are diehard fans of the games that understand gaming and whatnot. They're made by the creators for people to be found, potentially, but only by the people who are looking for them and
Right.
want to that level of immersion doesn't exist outside of the very, very niche market of people that hyper focus on
Yeah.
things the way that gamers do.
Yep. And like there are also some other Easter eggs where if there's sequel games that they'll refer to plenty of things from the first game. Or what a lot of other developers do as well is they will also include other titles from the same developer, like developer company will introduce. So like I'll say Blizzard, despite Blizzard having such a bad track record right now just due to all the controversy, but for a game like Overwatch, there are plenty of Easter eggs that refer to other Blizzard games from like StarCraft and Warcraft. It's just that's the way gaming is utilized, and it was the like that's almost as bad as immersion. Um, that's why like some of the older games from the 80s, like older Nintendo games, they also include Easter eggs. Like I believe
Well, it wasn't
Legend
just
of Zelda-
that. It was they were reusing assets on top of that because,
True.
I think it's called Mother, is the original game that Pokemon is based off of. Game Freak released game like Mother and Mother 2, I believe, before Pokemon Red came out, Red and Blue.
Red and green because
Red and green in Japan. You're right. Red
Yep.
and green in Japan. And I don't think we actually got a direct port of Mother from Japan until
No.
way later.
No,
Yeah.
there was always the Japanese version of the game that was ported over for the most part. Yeah, and it's just interesting how those things get integrated like that.
Yeah, because they needed to reuse assets because, I don't know if you guys know this, but I think it's less than a megabyte of data is Pokemon Red and Green. It's not a lot of information.
No, it's not.
They are crazy small amounts of information on those cartridges. But you have an entire gaming experience with maps. You go through quote unquote dungeons, caves and whatnot. And
Yep.
you catch 151 Pokemon, technically only 150 because you can't catch Mew in any of the main series games.
Technically 151, but one of them kind of breaks your game, and that's missing now.
Well, that makes it 152 because if you can get Mew, but you have to cheat to get Mew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have to cheat to get missing. I mean, technically it is a cheat, but it's not a cheat. It's just
it's a glitch. So
it's a glitch.
I consider glitches cheats because anything that gets you something that is not regularly available is a cheat. So you wouldn't normally get Missing No unless you do the very specific actions required to spawn Missing No.
True.
Yeah.
But it was also, I guess it would it would have to be a cheat too because it does duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I'm trying to remember. You have to go to the old man, go back, and then go to Cinnabar Island, go to that one little strip, and you shouldn't catch Missing No because it can break the cartridge.
Yeah.
But it duplicates what is it, the 8th slot? Was it the 8th slot to max
Of your items? Yep.
yeah,
To 99.
to the
So-
max slot.
Yeah. So basically if you wanted 99 what are they called?
Rare candies.
99 rare candies or 99
Nuggets.
master balls.
Oh, Master Balls. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, 99 master balls. You want to just completely forego anything that makes Pokemon actually fun. The anticipation of that little ball icon moving back and forth and then eventually stopping and going click. And
It never clicked though. It didn't click until I think Ruby and Sapphire,
that is correct. It goes
and then it does. Yeah, it makes a weird jingle, but it doesn't click until I think Ruby and Sapphire. But continue, go on. That's just
Yeah.
my Pokemon knowledge.
Yes, yes, that is correct. It didn't click until later, but you know, all of those things are so rewarding, and like gamifying things is so rewarding, and it's crazy how we've essentially made Pavlov's dog into video games and like positive reinforcement essentially. Like any it's so bad that we pre-order games because we expect fun. Like devoid of any actual content being shown, people will pre-order a game just because it was made by the same people who made a different game that they liked.
Yep.
Why? Because they have the positive reinforcement from playing the previous game, despite the fact that they know nothing about the new game. Like, it is that bad. Like, it is so crazy when you start deep diving into the psychology of all this stuff.
Oh, for sure. Do you still pre-order games now? I stopped.
The last one I pre-ordered was Legends Arceus.
Arceus.
Legends Arceus.
But
Okay,
here's
that's a YouTuber reference. M&J TV. M&J TV people. Like, he is one of my favorite Pokemon YouTubers right now. He's wonderful. Go and check him out. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, the only reason that was the last game I pre-ordered as well. But the only reason why I pre-ordered it was due to another thing that causes the pre-order syndrome, is bonus DLC. I pre-ordered Arceus from Amazon so I could get a Garchomp outfit on top of the, was it Growlithe outfit? Was that the free one that initially came out
I
with
think
the game?
so. I honestly, I pre-ordered it from GameStop because I'm a moron.
I mean, it's
that's it.
GameStop. It's GameStop.
It's GameStop. I pre-ordered it from GameStop because I'm a moron. But anyway, I was really excited. It looked really interesting, and it turns out I just don't like it that much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. I really love the format of the main series games, normal main series games, because this is not technically a main series game because
No.
it's not a new region. This is
A region
it's
of the past.
a region of the past. Now, eventually they're going to do other Legends games, and I'm so down for like Legends Rayquaza or whatever they're going to do, like Gen 3 or Legends when they eventually make their way to Gen 6 again. Like,
Okay.
like I would be so down for a Legends. Who is that? Xerneas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that was Xerneas and I can't remember what.
Yveltal.
Yeah, that's X and Y. So it's
Yep.
like
Yeah. Evil. It's actually Eviltal, but once again, M&J TV people. He calls him Yveltal, and it's just so funny. I like it.
what do you call it? I'm excited because, like, here's the thing: is that I agree with you. I enjoy the traditional format of all the Pokemon games, but there are certain aspects that I don't enjoy, and the number one thing that I don't enjoy is story. Like, a lot of the times, and you could either agree with me or try and vouch otherwise, but story has been deeply lacking because
Well,
the majority of
okay.
the new.
The best story, and like the entire community kind of basically agrees with this. The best story came from Black and White. I never played those games.
Same.
So like
Same, to be honest.
completely missed those games. Completely didn't care about Pokemon during that time because I was edgy and like I'm too cool for Pokemon. I was also in high school and I had no money, so I couldn't afford it anyway. But like I think that's what was going on in my life at the time, and I didn't want to pay for a DS because they were expensive and broke easily.
I still have mine. I still have all my handhelds.
Yeah.
I'm waving my 3DS in front of Caleb currently, which
Yes.
has Pokemon Black in it because I still have yet to finish it. But what do you call it? I was the same way. I didn't get to really fully finish the story for Black and White, and then I can't remember the reason why they made Black and White 2, but
Apparently, it was like 40 years afterwards or something like that.
Something
my
like that.
understanding is there's like a time progression between Black and White too.
Yeah.
But
The reason being was that for me, the Pokemon games, like I said, I got tired. I got tired of the same format. As much as I loved it, it was just that I got tired of five, because that's what Black and White is, generation 5 or 6. 5, right?
5, because
Diamond and Pearl were
Emerald,
just before.
Ruby, Sapphire was 3.
And then Diamond and Pearl was right after.
Diamond Pearl was right after that.
Black and
Yeah,
White,
so-
X and Y. Yeah.
Yeah, Black and White Gen 5. X and Y was amazing though. Like
I enjoyed
they brought like EV training into things, made it more accessible for people to understand and stuff. I want that back. I want like super training to come back the same way it did in X and Y, cuz that was just super useful, and all you had to do was like tap your lower screen for a couple of hours. Like it's
Yeah.
fine.
I think that's also the reason why they changed it when they introduced was after X and Y. Sun and Moon was because it was that easy. But then they started to realize that the formula, like the traditional formula for Pokemon, wasn't doing justice for the hardcore players, because like the thing that we all agree upon is that story was lacking. So it's like, yeah, the kids, give it to the kids, let them play the traditional format. But like for those that have been playing it since Gen 1, it's like you don't have to be this lazy on story. Like you could have the same freaking format, just be in more depth with the story. And
Well, it's never going to be Dark Souls Pokemon until Legends Arceus, because
Right.
Legends Arceus essentially became Dark Souls Pokemon, and it's not my speed, and that's the problem. That's my only issue. Is it's not my speed. I'm glad because Katie loves it. She adores it, and I'm so
Yep.
glad that she gets to play it and she gets to like, she gets to enjoy that. So that
Yeah.
I actually watch her play because it's almost
It's
like watching
grindy.
a Let's Play and actually
It's-
knowing a person.
it's grindy.
It's
It's very
entertaining.
grindy. It's a very grindy game. Like I've had it since the game first came out, and I still haven't left the first area, just for the fact that time wise and also like time constraints. But like when I do touch it, it's just like there's so much to do to 100% it, and it's one
yeah,
of those
no.
games that I do want 100%.
Yeah, that's actually kind of how I'm feeling. Okay, so side thing, I finally started playing Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
Now,
so you see some
would
elements.
think that, yeah, like some of the things from Breath of the Wild carry over almost directly into
Yeah.
Legends Arceus. Like, but I am more into it in Breath of the Wild. Like, I'm more into like getting raffle stomped every 3 seconds in Breath of the Wild, because I know that right now I'm low power and I'm low ability and stuff, and I haven't unlocked all of the Sheikah slates, and I haven't unlocked all the shrines, and like I need to do all of the things. My gosh, I'm really excited about that, and I do need to start playing that again. But like in Pokemon, I'm not used to that, and my
Yeah.
expectations of Pokemon are so subverted that it's actually a turnoff for me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like it's an emotion, like, because I'm like emotionally attached to the original format. Become the greatest Pokemon trainer
Yeah.
of all. So having basically you playing as the bad guys, spoiler alert, you playing as the bad guys essentially, to begin with. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of truth behind the Mafia essentially being the only reason why certain industries actually exist today. Alcohol. Like, if it weren't for the mob and if it weren't for rum runners, we
No, it's true.
physically we wouldn't have NASCAR either, which is also amazing. Which gets us back to the previous episodes.
Oh my goodness. That is one huge full circle. I can't believe we did that.
It's a multiple week full circle for you guys.
That I can't that is beyond me. Can't believe we literally came full circle to NASCAR. I'm gonna have to look it up later, but that is a lot of episodes, Caleb, that we just full circled on.
there's a lot of episodes to full circle that one. Wow.
And it's, what's crazy is that I've gotten comments on like the way that you guys speak. It's like we're so into it. It's because we understand the tangents that you go on, but then we're like, when are you gonna come back to that tangent? You just rock someone's world, or rock a few people's worlds.
Eventually, we did it. We did it, boys. We did it.
We got back to it. But then again, this has been 99.99% nonsense. Peace out.
Thank you very much.